Welcome, guys, back to ILWPOD. Today we are excited. We got Raw on Netflix. Enjoy it?
I enjoyed it a lot. I enjoyed it a whole bunch. It kind of took me back to a time where I would go to my friend's house every Monday or to my dad's house, and we'd all get together, a bunch of us, and we'd watch it because that's kind of what we did. It was really exciting for the first Raw.
On Netflix?
The
Netflix era?
Of the Netflix era. I liked the open.
Before we get to the open, I just want to say you brought up the going and watching it. That's something I remember as a kid. It was a big deal when we was a kid. We'd all go to my grandfather's house. We'd all watch it. Me, you, my uncles, your uncles. We'd all watch it, and it was like that. It resonated. It hit home, and I'm glad that me and you get to review the first Raw on Netflix as the first review show on ILWPOD on the new channel.
Yeah, me too. I'm glad to be on the new channel too. It's nice to be on the new channel.
Fresh start, 2025. Starting off
share,
off
and
hot.
subscribe.
Like, share, and subscribe. And in that comment section, let us know what you think of not only the review, but what you thought of Monday Night Raw. We'll start at the beginning. Tonight, they started off with the story of wrestling, which was cool. I like the curtain over the ring.
Yeah,
The production was really different.
It felt like a big event, like a UFC fight or boxing match or something. The camera, just everything. It was different production all the way around.
Like, I think something that was really cool was the rotating of the superstars and the celebrities throughout the night, getting to see
being there,
all your actors and music stars.
Feel like a big
fight feel.
Big deal.
And even, like, I thought it was cool, like, having, like, your Intercontinental Champion in the crowd, making him feel like a big deal, or the tag champions, your women's champion, your world champion, like, having all of them in the crowd made them feel like a celebrity, especially when they're sitting next to guys like your Ashton Kutchers, your Wale's, just to name a couple people. But it just felt really big.
Really good. And a big fight feel, like you said.
Definitely. Triple H starts the show with his cold open. His monologue was really good. Yeah. Triple H always hits him out of the park.
Look, he did a great job pumping the crowd up.
Yes.
At that point is when I started noticing, like, the camera qualities, the shots, and just the crispness of the picture.
I like the drone cam. The drone cam was really cool.
The drone cam was cool. Some of the outside light displays they was doing.
Yep, like the hologram
graphics. They were really nice. But Triple H did a great job getting.
He really set the tone for the whole night.
To get the crowd pumped up. I mean, just pumped up. And then they was hitting on all cylinders right then.
Mm-hmm.
And then come right behind it.
You follow up with the most electrifying man in entertainment.
The People's Champ.
The High Chief.
The High Chief.
As they know.
And they made it known, like, right off Michael Cole references. Him being the High Chief and what that entails, and they go into the story.
How it happened.
And I think with the Bloodline storyline and everything that's went on, I think that's setting all that up.
It's setting the tone for something bigger down the
line. Yes.
I liked, before The Rock gets in the ring, him going and giving his People's Championship to his daughter. His mom was there. That was just cool. Yeah, it was a nice, like, home touch.
It made the show feel like a family show, even.
Yes.
Somewhat, because you could tell there was a lot of Samoan family in the crowd.
Yep.
He was giving some shout-outs. They were shouting back, in Samoan, native tongue.
Yeah.
Which was kind of cool. Then you had, like, Cody in the crowd.
Which I thought it was different to acknowledge Cody.
Because of their past last time.
You got to think the last time The Rock really spoke wasn't at Bad Blood. It was at the Raw after Mania, where he gives Cody something, kind of, it seems like he's like,
referring to a match.
When I come back, you're the person I'm coming after. Yeah. So, like, for him to say, hey, you've done a good job, is interesting.
Yeah.
And then, like, the little Instagram thing he does later, where it shows him backstage talking, it's just interesting.
And Cody's telling him how nice it was Rock did that for him.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting.
And something else that before The Rock leaves, he acknowledges Roman, but he acknowledges him as the OTC.
Right.
So that leaves the question of what does this high chief status mean in the WWE?
Well, I don't know, but I love the Rock segment. I loved him coming out doing the People's Eye Rail, finally the Rock, all the classics.
It leaves us with a lot of questions.
Well, I mean, but they come
for
back.
the future.
They come back a little bit.
I know,
so.
but like it leaves us with.
I like how the Rock let it off though, and then it goes straight into the tribal combat. I like that. I thought it was the perfect spot for it. You know, you got Heyman and Roman and Solo, and when Solo come out, they was giving Solo a hard time with the "F you Solo" chants, and normally you don't get that on a USA Network.
Nope. Or on NBC.
Anywhere.
For your
so to get that set the tone. That Netflix is a little more edgy. It's a little different.
We'll get into that a little bit more later.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Throughout the show,
it shows a different kind of content.
It shows a different kind of content, which I'm excited for.
Something I paid attention to was, as Solo's taking off that Ulafala before the match, he gives it a kiss, and then so does Paul Heyman, which I thought was really interesting because, it seems like Paul Heyman even offers, Roman the opportunity to do so, and Roman looks at him like, what are you doing? So, I feel like there's seeds being planted. Especially with a lot of the facials that's given by Paul Heyman towards, Solo, and later on towards The Rock, which we'll get into.
And The Rock giving facials back.
But
before we get to all that,
let's talk about the match.
We got to talk about the most amazing thing of this match, and it was a great match.
Okay.
Those boots Roman Reigns was wearing was amazing wrestling footwear. I love it.
The Nikes, the Air Reigns, boots.
The Air
love
Reigns.
them.
I like them too. I'm a fan. Now, just playing. Now let's get to the man.
But throughout the match, the powerbomb spot through the table was nice. The fighting on the outside
with the kendo stick down.
Yes, the storytelling that they're telling throughout it.
And Solo he put on a great deal of offense that was believable. Roman made him look believable tonight. So Solo come out looking strong.
He's a great heel.
Yes. The Street Fighter thing that they got, I like it. Mm-hmm. And I think Solo's capable of a whole lot more and doesn't do it because they want him to be that Street Fighter character.
Well, if you think about I don't know if you remember, but in NXT, that was Solo's character. He was the street champ.
Right.
So it's nice to see him not only, for tonight.
From the beginning of the whole story.
Well, for tonight, he comes in tribal chief, but he's also a fighting street champion tribal chief, which is different than Roman's, kind of royal emperor approach, if that makes sense, which I think I liked as far as Solo's character work.
And then the thing that got me was the only thing I didn't care for in the match is it's supposed to be tribal combat.
And there's supposed to be no interference.
No interference, one-on-one, and out comes the new bloodline, Jacob Fatu.
I think it was nice, though, that you got to showcase
your
Fatus, your Tomatongas.
And like I said, they were hitting on all cylinders.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because then you get Sammy.
But match-wise, if you have a rule.
Right. I'd like for you to.
There's one rule, and it's, hey, these two are the only people in the match. They're the only people involved.
And they're Jacob, he come out, he goes crazy.
Yep.
It was great. I love seeing Jacob anytime. And I love both the tonguings. A lot of people was giving him a hard time. I seen online about some spots or whatever, but I love both them guys. They, Mean's kids.
Yep.
Vicious. If their dad's that mean, they're bound to be mean. I think they're believable.
I think one of the most, out of nowhere spots of this match was Kevin Owens hitting that stunner on Roman Reigns out of nowhere.
Yeah, but we didn't get to Sammy and Jimmy.
We said they
Yeah, but they came out.
Okay, they came out. It was hot.
It was hot.
They get Jacob and Tomatonga out of there, which was nice. It gets them out.
Got the ref back in.
It seems like it's just gonna be Roman and Solo, and then KO hits this stunner, and I thought it was over.
I did too.
I thought Solo was our tribal chief.
I thought Kevin Owens screwed Roman.
Which would have came full circle.
And it would have been good.
That would have made sense.
And it made sense anyway, the way it went down with Cody coming out and saving Roman.
Getting Owens out of there. And then, once again, though, I thought Solo still might have had it when he caught Roman with it looked like he was about to hit him with the Samoan spike. And Reigns gets out and hits the 2 spears. And is still our tribal chief.
Yeah.
What did you think about post-match? And when The Rock comes out.
Well, you know, The Rock comes out and he makes a smirk at Heyman. And Heyman is kind of over there when The Rock is putting the follow on Roman. If you notice, Heyman's giving The Rock
like
the same side eye.
Mm-hmm.
And then The Rock's over smirking in the corner when Heyman and Roman are. So there's something there. You know, everything in this bloodline story is.
Everything matters.
Right. So.
Okay.
I think it's good. I was glad to see The Rock come back out, do the thing with the ILWPOD. But I think the way The Rock was looking.
Could we get Roman versus Rock at Mania?
Oh, I think it's definitely happening.
Okay.
If not this Mania, they're going to work a year program to.
I mean, either way, I'd love to see.
But do you see what I'm saying? Like, they might not do it this Mania. It might start at this Mania and build to it. Yes.
The more Rock we get, the better.
I agree. A lot of people have been hard on The Rock lately, too. And I don't see how you could be hard on The Rock. I don't get that.
He's the most electrifying man on the planet.
I ain't got no problem with him.
The Brahma Bull, you gotta love The Rock. After this, we get kind of an official teaser for Pentagon. I mean, the mask is shown in the outline. It says Penta in the mask.
I got a Pentagon mask at home.
And that's it.
And that's it.
Look, it said
It's
Penta.
the exact same mask. I'm a big Pentagon fan. I've been a big Penta fan since Lucha Underground.
Yeah.
That's when I first was, introduced to him. And ever since then, I've checked him out on MLW, AEW, anywhere I could.
Zero fear.
I love Penta.
It's time to see
it.
I'm
excited. I just hope they...
I told you,
they work right and do right by Penta.
Well, like I told you, it's one of those I hope he doesn't get lost in the LWO shuffle.
Here's the thing. I don't think he will because Rey Mysterio is such a big seller for them because of the mask.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, they have other mask talent.
Mm-hmm.
But their masks aren't recognizable. Penta and Rey's are.
That makes
Rey's has the pin, and then Penta's is like a La Parka type mask, and they're recognizable mask that people will be more likely to purchase. So that makes it a big influence.
It's marketable.
Yes,
I get you.
And so I think Pentagon Jr. is going to be a big star because of that mask, because of that marketable mask he's got on.
And he's over.
Oh yeah, he's over. And then you got Phoenix coming in right behind him.
Hopefully.
Definitely.
I mean, time will tell.
Brothers.
I mean, if Pentagon's here, Ray Phoenix will get. It's just a matter of time.
He's following.
That's what I was trying to say.
Right.
After this, though, one of my favorite parts of the show, and it's sad that this has come, but I'm excited to see what happens. Man. We get the beginning of the last time by John Cena. What'd you think about the Cena promo?
Oh, okay. So here's the thing with Cena. I can remember when Cena first started. I really dug his little rap gimmick or whatever at first. But then he got old and he went PG. Mm-hmm. And it was like, man, will he go away? Man, will he go away?
I know he was tired of me
and the kids, I had 2 back-to-back. Yeah. But it got to the point where you loved Cena because of his hard work.
Mm-hmm.
And so now he's been gone so long. It's like, God, can we get some Cena back? He came out tonight looking
the part.
Phenomenal. Mm-hmm. Compared to the last time we just seen him, he was really small.
He was pale.
Yeah, he was pale. He just didn't look like the Cena
of old.
And tonight he come out, and I'm telling you, by the time he steps in that ring for his first match, he's going to look like the Cena of old.
Come February 1st at the Royal Rumble, if that's his first match, if he doesn't have a match before then, he's going to look 100%.
I can see him having a match before then. I thought he was going to wrestle tonight.
I could have saw it.
I could have
seen somebody coming out and saying something and Cena.
Look, I could have saw it. And he's out there prepping the fans to see who they want to see him fight.
I really like how he builds the promo, though. How he tells you there's no way I've lost for 2,100 whatever days.
That's classic Cena.
And then at the end, he's like, you know what? I'm going to be in the Rumble.
That's been Cena's whole game, though, since the beginning. He'll come out, he'll act like there's no way I'm the underdog.
And then never give up.
He's playing classic Cena, and I love it. And I'd love to see him win the Rumble. I'd love to see him have the 17-time championship.
So you are saying on record right now you'd like to see John Cena beat your favorite wrestler's streak?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because my favorite wrestler said the same thing. If anybody deserves to have
John
that,
Cena.
it's him.
Which is fair.
And so, I mean, you think about it. He carried the company through a PG era.
Through the
hardest era. And made more money and took them to these huge international heights, and all that is all because of Cena. There would have been no Reigns, there would have been no Rollins.
He carried you from the time WCW closed until the time AEW.
Right after that, yes.
Well, I mean, 02. WCW closed 01. So from 02,
right.
Cena debuts.
Right, but he really didn't start carrying them until 2005, something like that.
04, 05. But what I'm saying is, from 02 to 2019, when the next company opens, Cena's there. Every
but he
night.
was about to be fired for 2 or 3 of those years before.
I mean, before he was the doctor at
Right. But all I'm saying is I'm glad to see him back.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very happy that we might actually get to see some record-breaking.
That this year run might not only just be a year last year, but it could be record-breaking for Cena and for the history of WWE.
Yes, especially seeing how most of the times he's come back.
It's just it's an Austin Theory match.
Yeah, or something quick, fast.
Yeah.
Or he loses. You know what I mean?
For 2,100 days.
I forget how many he said, but it's a lot.
It was 2,100 days.
A lot. So.
After this, we get another one of a series of good vignettes. This one was for Logan Paul. I thought this one was interesting because he's referring to this as his time, and it was just cool right after.
Running at the watch, right after
and
Cena said his name.
He did say his name in the
and
promo.
Everybody in the room booed.
I mean, it was a mixed reaction.
But it wasn't like
there was a stronger boo later in the night, which we'll talk about. But just Logan Paul, I think if he's actually, I'd like to see Logan on a full-time schedule.
Oh yeah, but
I don't see it because, I mean, there's rumors of him doing stuff maybe with Conor McGregor and things like that, boxing-wise outside of WWE.
Yeah, but WWE's always been the type of company to let people go do stuff like that.
But, like, from what we've seen from Logan, he doesn't wrestle a lot. It'd be nice to get a shift. Maybe 5.
Well, he brought it up, so obviously he's aware of people saying it.
Well, you got to think he's been in WWE for...
everybody says he's not one of the boys.
Well, you got to think he's been there for 2-3 years now, and he's had 7 matches. Or 8 matches.
And then he gets Shawn Michaels to train him personally.
Yes, and he's already been a U.S. champion.
And he gets a lot of flack from it.
So, like, it'd be cool to see Logan actually put his money where his mouth is.
You know, my personal opinion, though, is... I like Logan Paul. I think he's a classic heel.
I think Logan, this is something like a couple years ago, Reigns was in a similar position where he only wrestled when he needed to, and people hated it, but I thought it makes the most sense.
Well, he's an attraction.
He's an attraction. It's something similar to, like, people said, like, MJF and AEW.
Or, like, even Ronda Rousey, they brought her in.
And she did the same thing.
Well, she was supposed to be an attraction, but they overexposed her. I feel.
Yeah.
And I feel that's why.
Well, they overexposed her in the wrong area. You give her a microphone.
Right.
She doesn't really know what she's doing.
Overexpose her weaknesses. Yes. And I feel like with Logan, they have done the total opposite. I feel like they have capitalized on all his strengths and hidden every weakness.
Yes.
And I feel like he can do extraordinary things
right now,
athletically.
it looks like Logan Paul doesn't have a weakness inside that ring.
Right.
Or outside the ring.
Well, but then again, if you only do one match every so many months and you go down and you and Shawn Michaels work the match together before the match.
Yes. You're going to be excellent.
You're going to be excellent. So that's what he's supposed to do, and he's doing his job. That's what they're paying him to do.
I guess I'm just wondering if that changes in 2025. If we see more of Logan Paul.
I think we will.
I think maybe with the Netflix deal,
I think he's probably part of the Netflix.
Exactly.
And I'm all for seeing more of Logan Paul because the more reps he gets, the better he's going to be. And he's already amazing for somebody that's had so few matches.
Agreed. After that match or segment, we get to the Women's World Championship match between Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley.
Whoo, that was a banger.
Match. It was a banger. A great showcase of the women's division between two of the top women in the sport.
That Latino heat spot, loved it.
Yep, Liv taking something that Dominic does and putting it in her match.
I thought it was great. Dom is amazing, always.
I love Dominic Mysterio.
I do too. I'm a big fan.
I like the Oblivion onto the steel chair. It was a great, false finish.
Yes.
You mentioned the Eddie Guerrero spots, whether it be the Three Amigos or the Frog Splash.
I thought it was a great sequence. And then even with Dom on the outside doing Eddie's little dance,
yep.
I thought he just played.
He looks just like Eddie, too.
Well, I mean, the mullet, yes.
The mullet, the mustache, he looks just like a young Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah, he does.
Which just plays perfectly into it. The ending with the dominant two riptides back to back.
Look, she killed.
She looked like a monster.
And she is a monster. Rhea is a monster.
Afterwards, Dominic Mysterio, in typical Dom fashion, tries to switch his alliances.
Well, before he tried to switch, though, he was like sneaking up on her, going to get the best of her.
And so then she turns around.
It was classic Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah.
He was playing Eddie Guerrero, and that's what made it so great because it was like, then she turned around and caught him.
And then he's like, oh,
mommy. And she gives him the swift kick to the testicles. And
then the riptide.
And the riptide. And that was amazing because to me, it reminded me of Eddie Guerrero.
Eddie in China.
I could see Ray guiding Dom to pull off that Eddie character. Like, look, Eddie would be proud of you. Well, Eddie would want you to use it.
You got to also think, Dom was probably around Eddie.
Oh, a lot.
All the time.
Yeah, they did storylines even when he was a child.
Yes.
Dom's like a 40-year wrestling veteran right now. Or some
a
20-some year vet.
After the Dominic spot, Rhea's leaving, and we get the sound of the American Badass music. The Undertaker comes out on his bike.
Look, I loved it, but I wish it could have been a little more. I wish we'd have got something from the Undertaker.
Maybe a promo or something.
Right, maybe. But it was kind of like a passing.
That's what, passing of the torch. He kind of was like, hey, this is your spot, kid.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. And then they showed the crowd again. You get Michelle McCool and the others out there. It was really good. The Undertaker coming out on the bike was awesome.
I like how Taker's been able to now take his real life Mark Calloway and put it into his American Badass gimmick to where he can come and just be himself
and
on TV.
Yeah, I like it too.
Because then he doesn't have to come out in...
I'm a big fan of even his stories.
Yes.
And like his podcast. I watch it sometimes. I'm a big fan of it.
Shout out to 6 Feet Under.
Yeah, shout out to 6 Feet Under. Hence the holding the court.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Shout out to him.
After the Taker spot, we get to a backstage segment. They're kind of congratulating Adam Pearce on his remarkable work in getting Raw on Netflix. And Chad Gable interrupts. And he says, that he has... The word on the street is, so to speak, he struggles facing luchadors. Adam Pearce says he has the perfect luchador for Chad Gable.
Penta.
Okay, so you think Pentagon Jr. comes and takes down Chad Gable next week on Monday Night Raw? Okay. That's our prediction. Find out next week in our review if that takes place. Following this, the following this, The Rock, that's when they showed the Instagram clip, and The Rock tomorrow night on NXT. What do you think that had? Do you think that has something to do with Eddie Thorpe attack or
Look, Eddie Thorpe better hope it has nothing to do with him.
Look, he also has. You got to think Eddie tomorrow night has the ball stacked against him facing Obafemi, Trick Williams. He might be in some deep
I can see The Rock giving him a rock bottom.
I'd hate to be Eddie tomorrow night on NXT.
I can see it happen.
That's definitely monumental for NXT, though. To have a star the caliber of The Rock show up on NXT.
Well, you know, and that was in the same package where they were showing his other Instagram clips with Travis Scott showing up.
He shows communication with Travis Scott, communication with Cody Rhodes. Right. So, like, it's interesting how before he leaves in his massive truck, he stops the truck and says, "Hey, tomorrow night NXT, I'll be there. Tune in." It's just nice to see The Rock. It seems like he's all in. He's back.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it.
But speaking of Travis Scott, shows up with some sage in hand.
That was crazy.
For Jey Uso's.
And Pat McAfee says, look at him up there with his sage lit.
That's amazing.
And so,
did you ever think you'd see Sage on Monday Night Raw?
Listen. I've seen the Attitude Era, and I've seen all kinds of crazy stuff on Monday Night Raw. Never once did I think. I don't know. I can't say that because The Godfather.
You've seen Snoop Dogg on Monday Night Raw, and he's never had no sage, no oregano.
That's what I'm saying. This is the Netflix era. It's a whole different ballgame.
He had a vape and sage in one hand and a beer in another.
It's a whole different ballgame.
I'm excited. And the crowd
was nuts. For one, look. Jey Uso
is the most over.
He is the most over babyface in the company. Period.
Nobody touches it. Yeet.
You know what I mean? There's no other way around it. And I don't understand why he ain't a champion.
Look, I
think he should be the one to overthrow Gunther.
I said it before. I'll say it again. Backlash. Jey Uso should have beat Damian Priest for that world title.
Man, something.
It's been a year.
He's good, man. He's
Give that
really
man the
good,
title.
And he's good in the ring.
Strap the rocket to Jey Uso.
Look, he could be their next Roman.
If they played their cards right.
He already is.
No,
he's like Cody.
He could be what they wanted Roman to be the first time.
Right.
The all baby face.
Because it failed that way. The cards played out that way naturally for Jey Uso.
He got himself over.
Jey Uso got himself over. He wouldn't shove down nobody's throat.
No.
And that's why.
So, with what happens tonight in this match, I think that could be even more possible than we realize.
Well, I think now they realize. Especially Big Night Netflix. You got him coming out with Travis Scott. Travis Scott smoking the sage or whatever you want to call it.
And he's facing one of the biggest.
The whole crowd is.
Yes, but his opponent is one of the biggest stars in WWE.
Oh, yeah. And one of the best heels they've got in the company. Hands down.
I'd say the best heel.
Well, no. I'd say Kevin Owens is the best heel.
Nah.
I like Owens.
Look, man. I like Owens, but Drew McIntyre for a whole year has been the most hated man. He's won awards for being the most hated man.
Well, but I figure this year it'll be KO. That gets those same awards.
We'll see. But, Jey starts his match off hot, but Drew McIntyre massacres him the whole match.
Yeah, when he started off hot with the dive to the outside.
But that's about it.
And that was about it. And Drew beat him down. And beat
throwing
him
everywhere.
And I thought there was no way Jey was going to win this match.
Me and you both had agreed while watching this.
And I said at the beginning, Jey needs to win.
And then we both agreed Drew McIntyre's no way.
There's no way.
And then I like how they did it with, Jey not being able to get up to even get hit with the Claymore. And then at the last second, he rolls up Drew and it keeps Drew strong. And it gives Jey a much needed.
Look, I thought it was great.
Win. Yes.
I thought it was great. I'm a big fan of Jey Uso's.
If the main event wasn't there, that would have been match of the night.
I have to say, if you got Samoan blood running through you and you're on the WWE roster, you're probably a hot ticket.
Yes. Yep.
And all of them perform. Like, all of them are believable.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see no reason why Jay shouldn't be at the top of the...
Well, 2025...
And it would give the bloodline a whole new level of stories.
Mm-hmm. I'd say prediction 2025 is Jey Uso's year. Following this, we get a great promo package for Gunther. I think it did a good job without the champ being there, letting you know that he is not playing no games and that he's the champion for a reason. There wasn't much to say about it. He's just letting you know, hey, I'm not here to play games. You say this Netflix era, it's Gunther's era.
He's very silent, but
I love it.
He got that dominating presence.
It's a very big difference from Cody, because Cody's flashy. He's I don't want to say in your face, but he's all champion, like representing WWE, waving the flag. Gunther's the opposite.
My only thing is that when Gunther loses the belt, I just hope he don't lose none of his
He won't.
mystique.
He hasn't.
Because he
didn't lose it when he lost the NXT UK title. He didn't lose it when he lost the Intercontinental title. I don't see him losing it with the World
He's
title.
like a newer version of like a Bruiser Brody.
Yes.
You know, and like I think about my
throwback.
father, and I think my father would have loved him because he was a giant Bruiser Brody fan. So
He
like,
definitely would have.
I think he'd have loved Gunther.
100%. Following the Gunther promo package, we get a little spot where Roman and Paul Heyman are walking through the hallway. Heyman's asking him, hey, when is the next time we can see you? Roman says January 27th. I'm pretty sure that's the anniversary of Raw, so it could be another big Raw.
I think so too.
So looking forward to possibly seeing Roman January 27th. As they close the door, you get the WWE 2K25 logo. So maybe we're getting a teaser for the video game coming up too. It's just a nice way to tie everything in. I'm excited to see what's next for Roman Reigns after his win and his interaction with The Rock.
And you're probably pretty excited for that game.
I buy every game, every 2K game, WWE 2K game. So yes, I'm excited, especially with the roster that they have now. Hopefully we get some machine guns and Penta in the game. Sure, it'll be a DLC, but that's what I'm excited for. But after that, we get a very shocking moment of the night. Hulk Hogan comes out to promote his Real American Beer, and the reaction was not good at all.
Look, I've been a Hulkamaniac since I was little. I've never even... This was almost as bad as the NWO time. As far as they were booing, I think if they had a bunch of trash and stuff, they would have threw it in him.
Yeah.
It was that bad.
It was rough.
And Hogan's a legend. The business wouldn't be where it is if it wasn't for Hogan.
Commentary puts that over.
Yes, they do. And so I just wish people would show him a little more respect when he comes to a wrestling event. No matter what you think about him personally or what he said and done or any of that.
Second chances.
Second chances. And like, you got to think there wouldn't be no WWE
Without
Hulk Hogan.
Without Hulkamania.
Right. And I know people wouldn't want to hear this, but the same way, like Vince McMahon, you can boo him all you want, but there would be no wrestling as we know it
we
without
would be talking on the podcast right now about Raw without Hogan nor Vince McMahon.
So no matter what they've done, you got to appreciate what they've given to the wrestling business.
Because we wouldn't be talking about it.
Because none of us would be doing none of this.
There would be no Raw on Netflix without Hulk Hogan.
Or Vince McMahon.
So that spot was what it was. I'm curious to see going forward if there's more.
Well, they said they was partnering with this beer.
So it's just...
So I'm sure they will. Now, my opinions of it is California is probably a Democratic state.
It might not have been the best place.
It might not have been the best
Hogan.
venue to put Hulk Hogan. Maybe if they would have did it in Florida or New Orleans or...
On the other side of America, maybe it'll work.
Or Texas even, like there's certain venues he would have been more well received, I feel.
Than Los Angeles, California.
Yeah.
Okay. We do get into the main event, which was also just a banger of a match between Seth freaking Rollins
Look,
and
this was
CM Punk.
crazy because it reminded me of the old days when we would gather up to. This is what reminded me of those days, because you gather up to watch Raw, and then the main event would come. And this is before the era of the screw job. I'm going to screw you out of a classic ending or whatever.
This gave you a finish.
And that's the way it used to be, like when you had the 1, 2, 3 Kid versus Bret Hart.
Or versus Razor.
Right. Like, you know, you had that big match and you got the payoff, and we got that tonight. Like, this match was a banger.
I like the homage with Punk wearing the Ring of Honor jacket. Something that I pointed out. I just think it was cool. Something I never thought I'd see in WWE was him wearing that. Rollins over, Punk both over. I think it's interesting they showed the loud noise speaker for Seth. They didn't show it for Punk.
Or the rest of the night.
Yeah, they did. They only showed it during Rollins'
I would have thought that during the match.
The Rock.
Or during the match when they was chanting Punk, Rollins, you know, back and forth or some point. But we all know that meter is a work. So.
Yeah. I liked the match overall. I think the little things like the fighting in the crowd was like kind of like it's a throwback to what we used to see in the Attitude Era. Like every main event of Raw, they was fighting all over the arena. So that was cool. Something you pointed out was Punk and Rollins working the ref, talking to the ref, arguing with the ref, getting him involved.
That's a great.
It's something you've told me to do in my own personal
right. It's
content.
Something that's been missed in wrestling for a few years now, and something like back when I used to watch like the NWA, and stuff like that. Jim Crockett Promotions, they did that a lot, and had more interactions with other outside, used their surroundings, and so it was great to see that.
Seth Rollins, I want to say, hits a great GTS. He hits multiple GTS throughout this match, but the first one he hits, Punk rolls out of the ring. Good little, like, kind of false finish almost, because you think, hey, this could be it, and then Punk rolls out of the ring. Also, great ring awareness, showing the veteran experience of CM Punk. The stomp that Rollins hits after the buckle bomb, where once again Punk puts that leg on the bottom rope, great ring awareness. Might have been one of the most vicious stomps I've ever seen Rollins connect with. Just great stuff.
And Punk took it well and sold it well.
Yes. And then the finish with Punk hitting the GTS, Rollins following on to him for a second GTS, and Punk getting that win. I think, you know, booking-wise is the right decision, because people are curious what's next for CM Punk.
Did you bring up the neck breaker off the top?
No, that was a great...
And that was a throwback.
That was a little bit of a throwback, Punk doing the neck breaker
he
off the top.
looked kind of awkward doing it.
Yes.
Because it looked like maybe he hadn't done it in a while. But it was nice to see him do that. I think I can remember this first WWE ECW.
Yeah, back in the day.
He would do it there and then in TNA.
I guess, want to shout out the two pedigrees. The pedigree on the announce table. Rollins selling the knee was nice, and then getting back in the ring. Punk takes a hell of a pedigree, too. That's something a lot of people I've watched and take the pedigree, you know, land on their knees or land awkwardly. Punk lands it perfect. Rollins executes it perfectly. Two masters of their game. And it was great ending to, you know, the premiere of Raw on Netflix.
It was amazing. I had a great time watching it. Enjoyed watching it with you guys. Glad we got to come on here and do this. Give our reviews. Please like, share, subscribe.
As always, you know, we're going to do this every week. Monday Night Raw review. I will see you every Monday night post-Raw. Thank you guys, as always. We're excited for 2025. Planning some big things. We're not going to announce anything yet, but we're planning a lot of good things for you guys. Planning to expand the podcast as much as possible. And we welcome you guys on this ride with us. And it's going to be a long one. Thank you guys. Like Pop said, like, share, subscribe. See you next week.